Vue.js, interview questions and answers. Beginner means advanced. Introduction. Vue.js is a progressive JavaScript framework used for building user interfaces and single-page applications. Vue.js is widely used for check front-end development, single-page applications, dashboards, enterprise web apps, progressive web applications. Vue.js provides reactive data binding, component-based architecture, virtual DOM, lightweight framework, easy integration. 1 to 20. Vue.js basics. What is Vue.js? Vue.js is a progressive JavaScript framework for building user interfaces. Who developed Vue.js? Evan You. Why use Vue.js? Card, simple syntax, reactive system, component-based architecture, card, lightweight. What is SPA? Single-page application. Vue.js versus React. Vue is easier to learn. React has larger ecosystem. Vue.js versus Angular. Vue is lighter and simpler than Angular. What is reactive data binding? Automatic UI updates when data changes. What is virtual DOM? Lightweight representation of real DOM. What is component in Vue.js? Reusable UI building block. Basic Vue app example. Const app equals Vue.createApp. Data, return message, hello Vue. What is template in Vue.js? HTML structure used by component. What is directive in Vue.js? Special HTML attribute with Vue functionality. Common Vue directives? vbind, vmodel, vif, v4, vshow. What is vbind? Dynamically binds attributes. Vbind example. Image vbind src, image URL. What is shorthand for vbind? src, image URL. What is vmodel? Two-way data binding. Vmodel example. Input vmodel name. What is event handling in Vue.js? Handling user actions using directives. 21 to 40. Components and lifecycle. What is von? Von example. Button, von click, save, save. What is shorthand for von? @click equals save. What is conditional rendering? Rendering elements based on conditions. What is vif? Conditionally renders elements. What is vshow? Shows hides elements using CSS. Vif versus vshow? Vif removes element, vshow hides element. What is v4? Renders lists dynamically. v4 example. liv4, item in items. What is key attribute? Unique identifier for list rendering optimization. What is computed property? Cached reactive value. Computed property example. Computed. Full name. Return this first plus this last. What is watcher? Observes data changes. Watch example. Watch, name, new val, console log, new val. What is lifecycle hook? Method triggered during component lifecycle. Common lifecycle hooks? Created, mounted, updated, unmounted. What is mounted hook? Executes after component renders. What is props? Data passed from parent to child component. Props example, props, title. What is emit in Vue.js? Sends events from child to parent component. 41 to 70. Vue Router, Vuex and advanced concepts. What is Vue Router? Official routing library for Vue.js. Why use Vue Router? SPA navigation, dynamic routes, nested routes. Basic route example, const routes equals path/component home. What is dynamic routing? Routes with variable parameters. Dynamic route example, /user/ID. What is nested route? Route inside another route. What is navigation guard? Controls route access. What is Vuex? State management library for Vue. Why use Vuex? Centralized state management. Vuex core concepts? State, mutations, actions, getters. What is state in Vuex? Central application data. What is mutation? Synchronous state update. Mutation example. Mutations, increment, state count ++. What is action in Vuex? Asynchronous operation handler. What is getter in Vuex? Derived computed state. What is composition API? Modern Vue API introduced in Vue 3. What is setup function? Setup, const count equals ref of 0. What is ref in Vue 3? Creates reactive primitive value. What is reactive? Creates reactive object. What is composable? Reusable composition API logic. What is teleport in Vue 3? Renders content outside component hierarchy. What is suspense in Vue 3? Handles async component loading. What is slot in Vue.js? Placeholder for reusable content. Default slot example, slot. What is scope slot? Slot receiving child component data. What is mixin? Reusable shared functionality. What is custom directive? User-defined directive. What is plugin in Vue.js? Adds global functionality. What is async component? Lazily loaded component. What is lazy loading? Loading resources only when needed. 71 to 100. Advanced Vue.js and optimization. What is SSR in Vue.js? Server-side rendering. What is Nuxt.js? Framework for Vue.js SSR applications. Vue.js versus Nuxt.js. Nuxt adds routing, SSR, and optimizations. What is hydration? Connecting SSR HTML with client-side Vue. What is performance optimization in Vue.js? Improving rendering efficiency. How to optimize Vue.js apps. Yes, lazy loading, code splitting, caching, avoid unnecessary re-renders. What is code splitting? Breaking app into smaller bundles. What is tree shaking? Removing unused code. What is debounce in Vue.js? Delaying repeated function calls. What is throttle? Limiting function execution frequency. What is event bus? Component communication mechanism. Why avoid event bus in large apps? Difficult state management. What is provide inject? Dependency sharing between components. What is TypeScript support in Vue.js? Static typing support for Vue applications. What is Pinia? Modern state management alternative to Vuex. Vuex versus Pinia. Pinia is simpler and recommended for Vue 3. What is API integration in Vue.js? Connecting frontend with backend APIs. Axios example in Vue.js. Axios.get/API users. Common Vue.js interview topics. Directives. Text found. Vue Router. Vuex. Composition API common Vue.js problems. Reactivity issues. State management complexity. Performance bottlenecks. Reusable components. Proper folder structure. Use composition API. Lazy loading. What is testing in Vue.js? Verifying component behavior. Vue testing tools. Check. Vue test utils. Check. Jest. Cypress. What is responsive design? UI adapting to different screen sizes. What is accessibility in Vue.js? Making apps usable for all users. What is PWA in Vue.js? Progressive web application support. How to become strong in Vue.js. Check. Build projects. Check. Learn composition API. Check. Understand reactivity deeply. Check. Optimize performance. Biggest Vue.js interview concept. Reactive component-based front-end architecture. Key Vue.js interview focus. Components, reactivity, routing, and state management. Why is Vue.js popular? Simplicity, flexibility, and fast front-end development. Final summary. Vue.js interviews focus on components and templates, directives, lifecycle hooks, Vue Router, Vuex and Pinia, composition API, reactivity system, front-end optimization. Key idea. Strong Vue.js developers understand reactive programming, component architecture, and scalable front-end application design.